evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again inside the gymnasium at Milford High School as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call. Tonight it is the boys basketball team back in the home gym. The Milford Scarlet Hawks getting set to welcome in the Kelly Rex Division Attleboro Bombardiers. And of course, before we get to the boys, we just have to very briefly revisit what went on here in the Milford gym last night. Just an absolutely magical performance from Milford's Lady Scarlet Hawks senior captain Kate Irwin. A 33-point performance for Kate in this gym just about 24 hours ago, resulting in her notching career point number 1,000. Ended up with 33 points on the night, which brought her overall point total up to 1,001. It was a shot from the free throw line with just about 2 minutes to play in the game that sealed the deal for Kate Irwin. It was a strong second half performance overall for the Lady Scarlet Hawks, earning a victory over Norwood. But of course, the big takeaway from the game was point number 1,000 for Kate Irwin. So once again, we want to congratulate Kate on that incredible milestone performance. And now the boys with a tough act to follow after that performance from the girls last night. But the boys also looking to shake off a tough loss earlier this week to Oliver Ames on the road. Milford comes into this matchup tonight tied for third place in the Davenport standings with North Attleboro. Milford with an overall record of 6-5. They are 4-5 within league play. And again, a loss their last time out against Oliver Ames. And it continues to be a frustrating bit of inconsistency for Milford, in particular on the offensive side of the ball. It looked like they had started to turn a corner with their performances last week. We think back to the game we covered for the Scarlet Hawks team back on Friday night, dropping 77 points in a victory over Sharon. They followed that up with 60 points in a victory over Hopedale over the weekend, but then scoring just 36 total points on the night up in Easton earlier this week in that loss to Oliver Ames, a 55-36 loss. So once again, the offense really unable to get anything going. They only scored 17 total points in the first half in that game, en route to just that 36-point finish overall. So that gave them another loss within league play. And so once again, under 500 against league opponents. They will look to bring that back up to the 500 mark here tonight as they take on the Attleboro Bombardiers. They have been a fun team to watch this season. Not always the most consistent team themselves, but they have certainly had some flashes of absolute brilliance, in particular on the offensive side of the ball. This is a team that comes into Milford tonight averaging 65.3 points per game. You look at their point totals up and down their regular season schedule so far. They have not scored less than 50 points in a game all season long. As a matter of fact, they have scored 70 points or more 6 times over the course of their season, and their high water mark on the year is 85 points, which they scored in an 85-65 win over Sharon back on December 19th. This team also features 5 players that coming into this week's action were averaging double figures in points per game, at least 10 points or more. So that is likely the starting 5 for this team, which means they can generate offense from any spot on the floor at any time. And not only is this team talented, they are also a very young roster. As you look at a lot of their dynamic players, many of them are underclassmen. This team is made up of just about 50% freshmen and sophomores. And in particular, you look at the current sophomore class on this Attleboro team, led by Qualim Charles, listed at 6'5". Charles has really been a revelation for this this Attleboro team, but also Bryant Sissio has been one of their best offensive players so far this season. He leads the team in points per game. Also, Dom Victor, a junior, has been essential in their offensive attack as well. But really, this is a deep and talented team with a lot of height. There are 6 different players at 6 feet or higher, so they are long and they are aggressive to the basket. So this is a team that Milford is really going to have to watch out for. We'll see another very good matchup down low in this game, as Caden Kelly will go up against Qualim Charles, the 6'5" Charles against the 6'4" Caden Kelly, who has really been in an outstanding groove himself in the last week and a half. Of course, he was most recently named HockomockSports.com Player of the Week for his contributions to Milford's victories last week. So he will look to continue to keep that effort going. Milford's also gotten some outstanding contributions out of Andrew Frioli over the last couple of weeks too, really settling into his role on this team as well. So Milford's really going to have to step it up offensively and defensively if they want to hang with the 8-4 Attleboro Bombardiers. They come in tied for third place in the Kelly Rex standings, tied with Taunton. But at 8-4, one of just the deep and talented teams in the Kelly Rex. Mansfield at 12-2 overall, Attleboro at 11-1, and then it's Attleboro at 8-4 with Taunton also at 9-5. So those are 4 very lethal teams over there in the large school division. Milford will face one of them tonight as Attleboro is here in town taking on your Milford Scarlet Hawks. We will have the starting fives and the opening tip in this game, and Nealon Reisman will join me on the call when we come back next here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks Athletics on Milford TV. A lot of enthusiasm in the Milford gym on this Friday night. Time to get this Hockomock League crossover matchup underway. And first we'll bring you the starting fives for both teams. First for the Attleboro Bombardiers, it is number 3, Kevin Velasquez, number 12, Mason Houle, number 25, Brian Ciccio, number 31, Nate Douglas, and number 35, Qualeem Charles. And for Milford, it is number 0, Joey Everett, number 4, Brendan White, number 5, Andrew Fraioli, number 10, Brendan Saylor, and number 21, Caden Kelly. It is Kelly lined up for the opening tip alongside Nate Douglas, a couple of senior captains. It is Milford who controls the tip, and basketball underway here in Milford. Tim Coet and Nealon Reisman bringing you the call of Scarlet Hawks Athletics this evening. Quick 3-ball tossed up by Brendan White. And a little offline for White on his first shot of the night, and Attleboro controls the rebound.
One of the things I've noticed is Milford coming out in much of a taller lineup. Joey Everett starting for Milford along with Andrew Fraioli, trying to figure out some height, as Attleboro definitely has some size.
Douglas tossing up the early shot for Attleboro, no good. Yeah, interesting to see Everett in the starting lineup. We saw Colby Byers in the lineup the last couple of times we've seen this team, but trying to get a little bit more height out there, as of course Attleboro features quite a bit of height, not only in their starting 5, but also up and down their bench as well.
They're definitely a threat offensively. Like you said, 5 scorers in double digits, 2 of which are off the bench. So as if scoring from their starting lineup could be even more of a threat, they definitely have some guys that could come off the bench and put it in the rim.
Milford doing everything they could to control Qualeem Charles underneath the basket, but he got a couple of chances at an offensive board and finally was able to cash in with the first points of the night, as now Joey Everett will look to respond from 3, and perfect with the shot for Everett. Milford tries to trap in the backcourt. Good defense from Saylor, continuing to pester, and finally Ciccio able to get it ahead. The 3-ball now from Attleboro took a tantalizing bounce for the Bombardiers, but did not go in, and Milford will control the defensive rebound.
This is going to be a very intense game tonight. Last time they played, Attleboro won narrowly 53-51, so Milford definitely has a grudge coming in, playing in their home court this time. Last time the game taking place in Attleboro, and they definitely have something to prove.
Swinging around into the corner, wide open look, but Attleboro again can't cash in. And to your point, Nealon, the last 2 times these teams have played, both games have been down in Attleboro. They've played there the previous 2 seasons, and Milford has lost both times. It's a narrow defeat last time out. Everett looking for the long-range shot again, no good this time, and Attleboro quickly up the floor. A lot of outside shooting early on for both of these teams. Milford with the narrow 3-2 lead a couple of minutes in to this first quarter action. The jungle getting loud on the Milford side. Plenty of energy in Milford's favor as that ball is tipped, trying to weave the pass to the near corner, and Milford intercepts. And now Milford with some very quick passing, trying to hit Caden Kelly underneath the basket, but the pass coming in a little too hot for Kelly to handle. Now Milford pressing in the backcourt again. White almost getting his hands on that pass. Here's Charles now taking it to the basket over Fraioli, but can't finish. Kelly gets the rebound, and Kelly and Charles take a spill to the floor. And they will call the foul on the Attleboro big man.
Kelly able to move around, box out, get in front. And good way to get a foul on Charles early.
Still just under 5 minutes to play in the first quarter, working with a 3-2 score. Continuing to feed Everett outside. Misses on the shot, and then the foul is called. I believe that one might have been called on Nate Douglas. So 2 early fouls on the Bombardiers. Saylor gets it into White, thought about the quick release on the 3, dribbles a couple of steps inside, no good. Kelly with the rebound. Kelly leading the Hockomock League in double-doubles, and his rebound leads to a 3-point shot from Brendan White. And Milford now with a 6-2 lead, courtesy of 3-pointers from Everett and White, and an early timeout called on the court with 4:31 to play in this first quarter. So an interesting tempo to this first quarter so far, Nealon, and Milford really trying to get their outside shooters activated here early on in this first.
Yeah, definitely struggled in what they went up against Oliver Ames, had it tying their season low of 36 points. So definitely coming in today, they need to put the ball in the basket. Coming up against Attleboro, who's averaging around 65 points a game, like you said, again, 5 double-digit scores. So if they can keep them in check, maybe limit the inside game, they have some shooters, it's going to help. Defense is definitely going to be a key part of winning this game.
Meanwhile, during the timeout, it's the Attleboro cheerleaders who are entertaining the crowd here tonight. You may notice the absence of the Milford High School cheerleaders, and there is a reason for that. The Milford cheerleading squad is currently down in Texas preparing to compete in nationals. Of course, the 3-time defending state champion Scarlet Hawks cheerleading squad now competing at the national level, so we certainly wish the Milford cheerleading squad the very best of luck. Attleboro now to inbound out of the timeout. Milford once again harassing in the backcourt. Saylor with tight defense on Sissio. He's able to get ahead. And now it's Douglas into the corner. Wide open look from 3, and just terrible luck from Mason Poole. That ball halfway down and then popping back out. Milford will take it.
That'll be there later on if he stays wide open.
Saylor now inside, trying to hit Fraioli. Certainly understand why Milford's been trying to work it out on the perimeter so far in this first quarter with all of the size down low for Attleboro. So we see a quick substitution here. Tim Callahan, a sophomore, checking into the game for the Bombardiers. Now back into the hands of Saylor off the inbounds. Brings out Pauline Charles with the rebound. Now the fast pass ahead. Callahan will get an early opportunity. Gets on the score sheet, cuts it to a 2-point game.
Milford's going to have a hard time trying to look inside. Not only does Attleboro have height along with youth, but they definitely have size. Pauline Charles can definitely body up Caden Kelly, and that could be critical.
Bank shot home for 3 for Brendan Saylor, and right now all of Milford's points have come courtesy of the 3-point shot, nearly getting the layup off the steal there, but no good that particular time for the Hawks. And now Attleboro back the other way. Bounce pass entry into Charles, now back out on the perimeter. Charles again going against Fraioli. Fraioli able to get a piece of that one. Now it's Kelly saving it from going out of bounds and then gets fouled. Excellent play.
Beautiful defensive play, waited a double team.
I believe the foul ended up going on Jason Ware, another sophomore, but you saw there the 2 Milford big men standing strong, standing their ground against Charles. Charles just so big and strong and physical, but Kelly and Fraioli doing excellent work on that trip. An offline pass from Kelly, and you can see now shaking his head in frustration as that ball went out of play. The turnover sends it back to Attleboro with 3:02 left in the first quarter. Dangerous pass, looped to Jason Ware. And finally Attleboro able to advance. Up top now to Douglas. Douglas gets trapped, sends it back out to Ware. And now the pass off the hands of Dom Victor and out of play.
Attleboro starting out in a little bit of a slump.
Some shots haven't fallen, but you definitely have to credit the commitment Milford's had on the defensive side so far in this first. Here's Brendan White. Count it again from three-point range. That is the fourth three-pointer that Milford has hit so far in this first quarter, and it allows them to take a 12-4 lead. And again, timeout is called with 2:29 to play in the first. We will take the timeout as well back for the rest of the first quarter when we come back next here on Milford TV. Just a tick under 2.5 minutes to play. Milford with the 12-4 lead. All of their points coming courtesy of the three. And Nealon, so far, this is a team that definitely looks like they were frustrated by that low scoring output earlier this week.
Yeah, and Attleboro being a scoring team as it is, they're keeping them in check. Only 4 points so far. And it's back-to-back timeouts from Attleboro gives them a chance to try to rethink what they need to do, figure out a new game plan, try to see if they can put some more points on. But Milford playing incredible defense, getting the shots to fall from the arc, and it's helped them.
Milford keeping good position defensively against Charles. Again, unable to convert on the easy look. Now they'll test Brendan White again. Too strong on the three-pointer this time. Under 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Outside now for Sissio.
Now with a team like Attleboro, they could spark at any time. They might be low scoring right now, but next thing you know, a few consecutive shots and they bring themselves right back into the game. Milford's just going to need to be a little bit more consistent. Maybe three-point option isn't everything they've gotten it so far, but if that doesn't seem to work, they're just going to need to find some other shot opportunities.
Milford really keeping Attleboro off balance on that trip up the floor, staying very disciplined defensively, forcing Attleboro to settle for the long three, which was no good. Kelly with another rebound, and now the foul called.
Foul before the shot. Puts Milford in for an inbound pass under the hoop.
Milford has not been whistled for a foul yet in this quarter. Team fouls 5 for Attleboro, none so far for Milford, as Milford makes it a 14-4 game.
You can see the aggression coming from Attleboro, and 5 fouls so early on in the game could put them into the 1-and-1 way before the first half is over, and maybe even help contribute to some free throws from Milford.
Good no-look pass. Another open three missed by the Bombardiers. Poor shooting leading to a 10-point Milford lead. Brendan Saylor with some slick moves up the floor, and Fraioli gets the layup. Andrew gets his first points of the quarter, down to 35.2 seconds.
Milford going to get whistled for their first foul of the night, and that's going to go on Brendan Saylor. Following that play, that was a great pass. Nice bounce pass inside. Andrew Fraioli able to get the jump fake on Charles and just put it in with a little bit of contact.
Very high pass pulled down by Dom Victor. Fortunately so, or else it would have ended up in our broadcast setup. The crowd continues to stay in it, down to the final 20 seconds of the period. Milford closes in on Victor, and now White gets the steal, goes coast to coast, and drops it in for 2.
Under 10 seconds remaining. Let's see if Attleboro can get off a decent last-second shot.
Everett trying to keep Charles pinned in the backcourt, and a little bit of momentum for Attleboro right there at the buzzer.
Looked like Everett was trying to take a charge on that play and caught Milford off guard, allowing that three-pointer.
It was Bryant Sissio who was able to put it in just prior to the buzzer, and so that gives Attleboro a little bit of life, putting them up to 7 points for that first quarter, but an 18-7 lead. Milford leads it by 11 after the first quarter, and really superb play up and down the floor over that first 8 minutes, Nealon.
Yeah, it's been starting to seem like it's coming from all over. They got a couple inside shots, nice defense, caused a lot of turnovers, and it's just been havoc on the Attleboro side. They don't seem to have an answer right now. Doesn't mean that they can't do that right now. Again, they are a high-scoring team, and when you score 65 points a game and have yet to score under 50 points, they're going to find ways to score no matter where it is, and it might come now or later, but Milford has definitely held Charles in check. They've played up on shots around the perimeter, and it's just been an all-out effort from Milford so far.
And Brendan White really shining in that first quarter. A couple of three-pointers knocked down. In all, he has 10 points already after just the opening 8 minutes. 3 points for Everett, 3 points for Saylor, and 2 points for Andrew Fraioli.
And they're coming in this game with a clear mind. That 36-point matchup against Oliver Ames in their heads just didn't happen. And it's definitely shown. 18 points in the first quarter, very impressive.
Coach Seaver is yet to go to his bench, continuing to keep the starting 5 out there, and I guess with a mindset of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the ball in play to Sissio now as we are underway with second quarter action here on Milford TV. Once again, streaming live on milfordtv.net and through the live stream app. Leaving it outside for Douglas. Douglas now to Callahan. He can't find a lane to the basket. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Contested jumper by Dom Victor with Everett in close proximity. No good, and Milford controls the rebound. Saylor gets the pass from Everett. Quick turnaround shot, no good that time. And Attleboro now trying to get ahead quickly. Trying to change up the pace of this game.
That could be very effective if they try to pull a comeback.
Nothing doing inside for Sissio. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Attleboro's taken a lot of time each trip up the floor, even to try to get one shot away. They are able to get a decent look this time. High arcing 3 from Sissio is no good, and again, Kelly pulls down the board.
Milford is closing up every gap they possibly can on defense, and it is working perfectly.
And Joey Everett, with 2 defenders on each side, is able to nail his second 3 of the game.
5 threes in total so far, and it's definitely proven that the three-pointer is on Milford's side.
Attleboro able to sneak the ball ahead in transition. This time, Fraioli, the only defender in the backcourt. And he ends up committing the foul, and Attleboro will have their first look from the free throw line tonight.
And Douglas is going to miss his first free throw. A couple more Attleboro substitution is Charles, and McMahon steps off.
Amazing that Milford has been able to play the kind of physical defense that they've played so far here in the first half.
And it's been
only have 2 fouls to show for it.
And it's been with their starting lineup the entire time, not one substitution so far, and it looks like they haven't lost a speck of energy so far.
It's Caden Kelly battling under the boards. Misses his initial shot, able to fight for the rebound and puts it back. Those are Kelly's first 2 points, as now Milford gets the steal. Brendan White with the foot on the sideline.
Coach trying to run an inbounds play.
The head coach for the Attleboro Bombardiers is Mark Houle, the longtime head coach at Attleboro High School, an excellent coach. Hoping to see better results out of his team. For the Milford fans, hoping to see things stay exactly as they've been. Outside look for Dom Victor, and Milford commits the foul. Coach Seaver does not like the call.
I think they might be sending him to the line for 3. I think they're discussing whether or not he's going to the line or if it's...
Looks like they'll say it was on the floor. Coach Houle disagreed. But that is how the call will stand. So Attleboro sends it back into play. 5:42 to go in the half. Still all Milford, up 23-8.
Reaching the end of the first half. Milford keeping Attleboro under double digits.
Able to thread a pass in that time for Dom Victor. And a rare good look under the basket for the Bombardiers in this first half. Puts them into double digits at 10 points. Lead at 13 for the Hawks. White guarded closely. Here's Fraioli now. Tries to time the jump. Committing the foul is Dom Victor.
that they might have called a jump ball, but we're going to see the first substitution for Milford so far as Andrew Frioli comes out for Steve Sutherland.
So they keep the height out there, bringing Sutherland in off the bench as they loop the inbounds pass to Everett. Nice job for Everett to keep that ball from going into the backcourt.
Well, he's a magnificent football player, so he definitely has the ability to catch.
With the shot clock winding down, Everett had to toss up a prayer. Could not get the bank off the backboard as looked like it was Brendan Saylor who drew the contact on the other side of the floor. Milford doing all the little things right now.
Saylor getting tangled up, and that's going to be an offensive foul on Victor.
So that's 2 fouls picked up by Victor in just a matter of moments. Saylor, some fancy footwork, leaves it behind for Sutherland. That looked good out of the hand, but did not get the bounce he needed.
Still holding on to a 13-point lead as we reach the halfway point of the second quarter.
Sissio surveys his options. Victor trying to set a screen outside, now into the corner. Victor gets it back. Now trying to back in on Kelly. Able to get by him, tries to float it in, no good. Saylor fights for the rebound along with Mason Houle.
Call a foul on Saylor. He's not happy with the call. Zach Tamaro waits at the scores table.
And it looks like this will prompt another substitution as we'll see the first appearance from the senior captain, Zach Tamaro. Saylor to the bench. I believe that's 2 fouls now on Saylor. And now Attleboro will turn it over on the travel. .408 to play. Milford has kept a stranglehold on the momentum so far. Student section, as always, staying on its feet through the first half. There's White battling through contact to the basket, no good. Sutherland's chance, no good. Here's White again. And a couple of offensive rebounds, keeping that possession alive for Milford. And White adds to his team-leading point total. And meanwhile, just more terrible luck around the rim for Attleboro.
They're getting the shots they need. They're just not falling. Definitely what's hurting them is the consistent offensive rebounding from Milford, and they're getting more opportunities than they should.
Foul on Brendan White. So Attleboro trying to get a little bit more aggressive attacking the basket, and they've been able to draw a couple of fouls out of Milford here as we travel into the late stages of the second quarter.
They've definitely been more of a speed team so far, not really slowing down.
This is Kevin Velasquez at the line, missing his first.
Everett and Sutherland are going to take their first times off. Pires and Frioli are going to step in.
Velasquez 1 for 2. 25-11 our score now. Here's Frioli into Kelly. Kelly almost loses it now. Ends up getting his pocket picked by Qualeem Charles back out onto the floor. Now the pull up for Sissio. He's up to 5 points now in the half. Attleboro going on a mini run here.
They're definitely taking whatever they can get. Milford still going with size. They have yet to make a guard substitution.
They're going to call Caden Kelly for the offensive foul. No, they'll count the basket and one. So Kelly now up to 4 points, a chance to make it 5 at the line. Can't convert the free throw. Speed move to the basket for Nate Douglas. Now the ball tipped away. White couldn't track it down. Douglas stays with it. Now it's Sissio. He has his shot blocked on the way up. Now here's White ahead on transition, has Pyers going with him. Pyers just hoping that one would land. Now a couple of steps inside the line, count it, for Sissio. So Sissio, who has been the leader on this team in scoring, starting to show some signs of life here late in the half. Chance at the three-point play. Brian Sissio coming in, averaging 13.5 points per game. One of 5 players, as we mentioned, on Attleboro coming in to this week's action, averaging double figures.
He's been the light of the Attleboro team so far. Hitting a couple jump shots, and definitely one of the things that you're starting to notice as the game progresses is they're not having good luck inside, especially with 5 big men on the floor. If you try to take it inside, you're going to at least have Sutherland, Frioli, Kelly ready to take you on. Sissio able to make it and manage around that problem, finding a nice pull-up jumper and able to get the three-point play.
Bounce pass into Charles. Timed that well, got Frioli to leave his feet. Couldn't make the shot, but now Attleboro will go to the line as Frioli is called for the foul. Couple fouls now on Andrew.
Missed by Charles. 8 points so far from Attleboro, and you can definitely see the change in how they've played from the first and second quarter. Able to put up a little bit more of effort.
Charles 1 for 2. He has 3 points in the half. Just a minute 45 to go. Good pass ahead to Sutherland. Uses the body against Charles, and Steve Sutherland gets on the score sheet with 2 points. Milford up to 31 now, so they're rapidly approaching their point total from that Tuesday night loss against Oliver Ames, and we're not yet to the half. Lob into Charles. Charles trying to use the glass and instead gets fouled. So Charles getting some more of the calls here late.
Taking advantage of the contact, and that's going to be his second time back-to-back sent to the line. Kelly's going to check in for Frioli.
Making a miss again for Charles. 2 out of 4 so far from the line. And Milford now committing the offensive foul. You could see it there as Tomorrow through the elbow.
I don't think the Jungle's happy with the call, but a lot of contact from Tomorrow on that play.
Yeah, it was definitely the right call. An unnecessary move from Tomorrow.
Definitely a lot of bias from the Jungle, always trying to stay positive for the home team, but maybe not the best judgment.
Under a minute, and Douglas cannot get the shot to land, but another foul, and that one called on Zach Tomorrow. And I have a feeling with Brendan Saylor at the scorer's table, we're about to see Saylor in and Tomorrow back to the bench.
Douglas hitting the first free throw. Your prediction was right, Tim. Tomorrow stepping out.
One out of 2 for Douglas, but Attleboro able to keep the possession going, pulling down the rebound. 46 seconds to play until halftime. Back outside. 3-point shot from Douglas does not fall. Here's Saylor trying to get around Velasquez. And Saylor trying to take it all the way to the basket. Maybe trying to do a little bit too much himself. And Attleboro with the numbers advantage up the floor, and Douglas able to get the points to cut it down to an 11-point Milford lead.
31-20, and Milford trying to look for that last shot as the half line's down.
Trying to take the momentum into the locker rooms as Attleboro's gone on a bit of a surge here late. Saylor surveys his options, finds White. White with the fadeaway, and he thought he was fouled. They will not give a whistle, and there is the buzzer concluding the first half of play. All things considered, good 2 quarters of play for Milford as they will take a 31-20 lead in. Neil, and Attleboro was able to get a little bit of offense generated there late, but all in all, we talked about the offensive numbers coming into the game. Attleboro averaging 65 points per game. To hold them to 20 for this first half, certainly a very good accomplishment for Milford.
Yeah, it's a very impressive first half from Milford, able to put up points, almost tying their total from Tuesday, and they're going to need to continue that going forward. And if they can figure out a way to hold that team to around 40 points, this should be an easy win for them. It's definitely going to see how many points they can put up in the second half. Milford is a little bit of a non-consistent team. They're able to put up, if they can put up 4 quarters of just hard work and effort like they did in this first quarter and second quarter, this game should be theirs.
We will see Attleboro, obviously a dynamic scoring team. They could very easily heat up in the second half, but we'll see how both teams adjust at halftime, and we will be back for the third quarter in just a few short moments. 31-20, Milford leads it over the Attleboro Bombardiers. The third quarter when we return next here on Milford TV. Welcome back inside the Milford gym, about set to get the second half started between Milford and Attleboro. A 31-20 lead for the Hawks. As we take a look at the scoring from the first half, it is Brendan White right now who is your scoring leader. Notched 14 points in that first half. The rest of the scores for Milford: Joey Everett with 6, Caden Kelly with 4, Brendan Saylor with 3, and Andrew Fraioli and Steve Sutherland with 2 points apiece. Over on the Attleboro side, Brian Sissio is your scoring leader with 7. A couple of players with 4 points, Nate Douglas and Pauline Charles. Dom Victor and Tim Callahan with 2 points apiece, and Kevin Velasquez a single point in that first half effort. It will be Attleboro who will send the ball back into play for the start of quarter number 3, as Tim Coet and Neelan Reisman bring you the coverage on this Friday night. As we mentioned before the break, Milford hoping to keep up the intensity and the focus on the defensive side of the floor, holding this dominant Attleboro offense down. Kelly able to keep his positioning against Dom Victor.
Yeah, Tim, like you said, if you can hold a team to 20 points and a half, you're definitely going into the half with a nice leeway, a little bit of an edge against the other team, and only 6 players that have scored against for Attleboro. With a team that's scoring around 10 points a game from 5 of their players.
Caden Kelly getting an early look at the line. The foul was called on Dom Victor, so he will head right back to the bench in some foul trouble here early on in the half.
Milford with ferocious defense in the first half, along with complementing 30 points from both the first and second quarter. Early trip to the line from Kelly just helps.
Able to make just one of the 2 free throws. And now the ball out of play down the other end of the floor, so Kelly now up to 5 points overall on the night. But continuing to do the tough work underneath the basket.
Douglas playing a little bit of a soccer right there, kicking the ball out of bounds.
Here's Fraioli trying to go up and over the defender. Everett flies in for the rebound and now sends it back outside to Saylor. Good job by Everett to save the possession.
A lot of second chances for Milford, and it's helped them throughout the game.
Good look for White. Can't get it to land. He thought it looked good out of the hand. The ball ends up ricocheting out of bounds. Last touched by Milford. And some more substitutions as into the game comes Velasquez and Callahan. Poole and Douglas will sit. A lot of lively coaching coming from the Attleboro sidelines. Coach Mark Poole, again, trying to figure things out to get his team into this game. It's a 12-point Milford lead with 6:44 to play in the third. They use the height of Charles at midcourt to keep that ball temporarily in Attleboro's favor, but now it's Saylor who gets the shot and a chance at a three-point play off the steal.
At first, Charles holding up big, be able to get in front of a few players guarding around him, but a back pass and a back pass right towards him that he was unexpected for. Saylor kept with it, able to tap the ball in front of him and finish for an and-one layup. And I think they might give a technical foul to Jason Ware.
So Saylor will shoot the technical. Cannot make it.
Where I think was giving a little bit of back talk towards the refs, and Jungle answered, he can't do that. I think Saylor was taking his last free throw. Now they're going to send Frioli to the line for the two technical shots.
So Milford, a chance for some easy points here, but not coming through.
0 for 2 so far.
This is Frioli's first look from the line. Misses the second, so Milford with 3 looks at the line there after the foul and then the technical, and some points left there on the floor. Milford now will inbound the basketball from just outside of our broadcast setup, trying to keep the pressure on, but again, some unfortunate misses there, and now Attleboro is able to make the steal, and Brendan Saylor able to swipe it right back under the basket, but then can't keep it on the court.
Whitey, nice tap back, able to go, and Saylor tried to do a little bit of a behind the back pass and ended up setting out of bounds.
Did what he could with where he was positioned on the floor. Quick catch and shoot from three-point range, and the shot falls for Callahan. He's up to 5 points in the game. And so those 3 points now swing the other way for the Bombardiers. Lead back down to 11. Here's Kelly. He goes up and over for a pair. Pressure in the backcourt. Everett gets his hands on it. Goes right to White, who will release the three, and it's short. Maybe a little bit of an unnecessary shot that time from Brendan White, trying to maximize the damage. Milford commits the foul underneath the Attleboro basket.
A little bit of body use from Frioli, and Sutherland's going to be going to the scorer's table as he'll sub out.
The lead now at 13 as Attleboro sends it in. And they'll call the foul on Joey Everett. And so now it is Nate Douglas with the chance for the three-point play.
It's been a very consistent 11-point lead for Milford so far. Attleboro is yet to come and find a way to push that deficit to single digits.
They do have it down to 10 now. Everett, he'll release the three. Too long. White trying to save it. Momentarily in the hands of Sutherland, but now Attleboro able to push the floor. Everett was able to get back to block the shot. It looked like he might have come down a little bit awkwardly on the ankle. He was shaking it out for a moment or two, but now we'll get the pass back. Releases the three. No good. Sutherland works for the rebound and then gets fouled. That was excellent defense from Joey Everett as he was able to race the floor and time the jump for the block. And that seemed to shake off the pain in the ankle as he came back down to take the three-point shot.
And it avoids a single-digit lead for Milford and transitioned right into a chance for Sutherland to make his first free throw and a chance of making the second. Joey DeMarco is going to see his first time on the floor as Joey Everett's going to sub out. Still seems to be in a little bit of pain from his ankle injury on the fall.
They'll try to stretch it out as Sutherland goes 2 for 2 from the line. Bumps that lead back up to 12.
And other than Saylor, DeMarco is going to be the first guard off the bench, at least, for Milford.
Sissio all the way to the basket. Does not get it. Charles flies in for the rebound, and it will be Colleen Charles heading to the free throw line. Scary to think that Charles is only a sophomore. Only going to get stronger once he reaches his upperclassman years. He is going to be some kind of player to watch out for in the league.
Yeah, he'll definitely pose a threat, and as a sophomore, it gives him a lot of experience so far in varsity. 2 more years down the road, who knows?
Able to knock down both of his free throws, and it's now a 38-28 ball game. Still plenty of time to go in this third quarter. So Milford, after really just dominating first quarter, 18-7 after that first quarter. Teams played even in the second, each with 13 points, and now staying at sort of an even pace here in the third quarter. Milford hasn't really been able to balloon that lead back out. Now the timeout called for. So just a game of adjustments all night long, Nealon. And again, Milford's done what they've needed to do to keep the 10-point lead, but you can't help but feel like a 10-point lead against a team like Attleboro isn't the safest lead. They want to try to keep putting the pressure on offensively. If you leave this game within striking distance for the Bombardiers with still a quarter and a half to go, that's a place that they don't mind being in. They can come back from that kind of deficit.
Yeah, and I think that's like it for most teams. 10 points is never enough, and Milford should never have the mindset that when they have a 10-point lead, unless there's 10 seconds left in the game, that you should be trying to push it as much as you can. You should be setting goals for yourself, try to get to 15 points, 20 points, especially with a team that's scoring 65 points a game. A 10-point lead is never enough.
Milford's made just 2 shots from the floor so far in the third quarter. Saylor and Kelly responsible for those. Brendan White, who had 14 points in the first half, has been held silent so far here in the third. Again, still 4:51 to go. It's been a bit of a slower tempo to this third quarter so far.
Milford really having their way on defense. And with the substitution of DeMarco is a very fantastic defensive player.
Attleboro able to get their hands on the inbounds pass from Saylor. Sissio knocking it right back out of play. So we'll reset. Now running out of time. They try to find Brendan White, and again Attleboro knocks it out of play, so really making life difficult for the Hawks trying to get this ball back on the court.
Very awkward position for Saylor to inbound the ball, and that might be going down the other way. Oh, it's had a third time that Milford's going to be inbounding the ball.
They switch to Caden Kelly sending the pass in on that last attempt. Now hands it off to Saylor, and finally we're able to get back to action.
4th time's a charm.
Kelly taking his time trying to find Sutherland with that pass, but eventually it's picked off. Douglas the other way. Douglas all the way to the basket. Doesn't get the roll, but will get free throw attempts.
A very quick play by Douglas, able to get up the court as fast as possible. Use his body into the transition at the end of the play and has a chance to make 2 free throws.
There are only 2 seniors on the entire roster for Attleboro. Douglas is one of them, a senior captain, as he makes his first free throw.
And as good as Attleboro is, that's got to be a scary thing to think about. 2 seniors, the rest of them, maybe a few juniors, a lot of sophomores and freshmen, but lower classes and the junior class as it is, there's definitely no slowing down for Attleboro with such a young squad like they have right now.
They're going to play together for a long time. The other senior on the roster for Attleboro, Elvin Sam, has not yet seen the floor. Not sure if there's an injury there.
And that's another positive thing with a young team like Attleboro. Not only do you get to build yourself up in experience, but you also get to build yourself up in chemistry. Not a lot of people graduating gets a lot of time to work with your teammates.
Count the 3-point bucket for Kevin Velasquez. We saw a lot of threes tossed up by Attleboro early on. That's the first one they've taken in a while, and this lead starting to shrink now for Milford.
Joey Everett reaching the scores table, and it's a 5-point lead.
Just talked about it a moment ago. See how quickly that lead went from 10 points to 5. And you're starting to feel, really for the first time, momentum shifting onto the Attleboro side. It's been such a frustrating night for the Bombardiers. They had a lot of shots just not fall their way early on. They've gotten more aggressive. They've gotten a lot more points inside. And now going back to the outside shooting for Velazquez, knocking down that last shot from three-point range to cut it to a 38-33 game. Milford has scored just 7 points so far in the period. Now back in the hands of Douglas. Saylor swatting at the ball, trying to get the steal. A high floating jump shot. No good, and Andrew Fraioli back out on the floor. He's able to pull down the rebound, but now a bad pass leads to an open layup for Velazquez, who goes on a personal 5-0 run, and now it is down to a one-possession lead for the Scarlet Hawks.
7-0 run so far from Attleboro, and it's seeming like they're not able to slow down. Milford struggling as that foul is going to be called for Attleboro. And like I said and mentioned earlier, Attleboro is a spark team. They might not find it first, maybe even the second quarter, but at some point in the game, they're going to spark. They're going to find their shot, they're going to make their shot, and that's really going to affect. And if you're
Joey Everett back into the game. We'll see how that ankle holds up. 38-35. Zach Tomorrow also back out onto the floor. He and White go back and forth. White will release the three. That's short, but Kelly gets the offensive board. Now he'll try to muscle around Charles. He can't get his shot. And Milford really struggling to generate points. Down to 2:15 to play in the third. It's been a 15-7 quarter in Attleboro's favor as Milford saves that from going out of play. White has his pass blocked. Now he'll charge up the floor, loses control. Attleboro takes over. And now the foul called as Dom Victor went up for the layup. And I can't help but go back to that technical foul from the Bombardiers early in this third quarter. It gave Milford an opportunity to shoot 3 consecutive free throws. Milford missing all 3. And you just sort of had a feeling right then that not taking advantage of those easy points to up the lead and really compound the frustration for Attleboro, that would maybe give the Bombardiers a little bit of something to build on, and that's really exactly what happened.
Yeah, Attleboro really coming out of that technical. Maybe it kind of gave them a little bit of fire, fired the team up, and it's paid off. Going to put it to a 1-point lead. 9-0 run so far, and Milford has not found an answer yet in a game of adjustments. Milford's going to urgently need an adjustment right about now.
Colby Pyers into the game now.
Noticing that that ankle injury to Everett is still continuing to bother him, but it has not given up on his hustle. Past few plays up, leading up to his foul, doing a good job to play defense. And for the first time in a while, Milford's going to get their points. Fraioli puts in a putback.
Very badly needed for Milford there. After a couple of misses, Fraioli was able to come up with a clutch offensive rebound, and then he puts it back in to make it a 40-37 lead. But the complexion of this game has changed drastically. It's anybody's game now. We'll pause for the timeout. 1:25 to go in the third quarter, 40-37. A slim lead for the Hawks as we return right after this here on Milford TV. Back out of the timeout as Attleboro gets it into Charles. Charles pinned down in the corner, but is able to get the pass away to Douglas. And now Attleboro able to set up shop on their offensive side, coming down to a minute to play in the third quarter. Brendan Saylor camped out at the scorer's table for Milford. So he gets a chance to come in before the end of the quarter. Bounce pass, can't find Charles, but it's tipped out of play by Milford, so With 7 seconds left on the shot clock, Attleboro will have a chance to inbound, and now Saylor does indeed come back into the game, replaces Colby.
In a game that had a very quick first half, this third quarter has been very prolonging and almost suffering for Milford.
More suffering courtesy of Dom Victor as he gets the bucket, and once again, it is just a 1-point differential. A lead that was well into double digits through the majority of the first half and early on in this third quarter, but a much different story now. And Fraioli is called for the travel, and that will give Attleboro possession back with an opportunity to take their first lead of the night.
And a team that scored 20 points in the first half, 19 points in the third quarter. It's been a 19-7 third quarter run by Attleboro. It's paid off greatly.
Brendan White nearly pulling off the steal. Sissio floats the pass, trying to find Callahan, and Saylor tips it out of play. And that will send Attleboro over to inbound. 23 seconds in the quarter, 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Callahan loops it into Charles, just barely keeps control with Fraioli right in his face, and then back out for Tim Callahan, who nets his second three-pointer of this quarter, and it is now a 2-point Attleboro lead. With time winding down, a deep three forced up by Saylor that is no good, and almost just felt like this was coming, Neelan. Even when Milford still had that 10-point lead, it did not feel safe, and boy, truer words were never spoken, as now a tremendous run for Attleboro results in the Bombardiers taking a 2-point lead into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, in a game in the first half that seemed like it was going to be positive for Milford, Attleboro has completely responded. 22 points in one quarter, 20 and a half. I mean, they've definitely shown that they can shoot the ball. They've looked inside. They've had a lot of points off of turnovers. Milford not being completely safe with the ball, and it's paid off on Attleboro's side.
So Attleboro outscoring Milford in that third quarter, 22-9, after Attleboro had just 20 points in the entire first half combined. Milford scoring 18 points in the first quarter, 13 in the second, and only 9 in the third. So you talk about those inconsistencies on offense for Milford. They came out so strong, but once Attleboro was able to adjust to Milford's style of play, they have been very frustrated ever since, with those point totals just continuing to drop with every quarter.
Yeah, and they've had a poor third quarter, but that doesn't mean that they can revive themselves and have a strong fourth one. It's still anyone's game, only a 2-point Attleboro lead. And this should make Milford angry. They should want to play harder than they did and play like, resemble more of a first half kind of style of play.
Good lane to the basket for White. He ends up taking the contact. It's also been a very different feel in the gym since early on. The crowd was so energized through that first quarter, and we know that this has always been a team, really ever since Coach Paul Seaver has taken over, this has been a team that has fed so much off of the energy of the crowd. It plays into their style out on the floor. It's been a much more low-key atmosphere, and it almost seems like Milford's taken on more of a low-key feel out on the floor as well.
Yeah, that'll definitely help them later on into crunch time. Effects on how the crowd reacts, effects on how the whole court reacts.
White only able to make one of the 2 free throws, so it stays an Attleboro lead, 42-41. Free throw shooting has been an issue for Milford tonight.
I think they're going to call kick ball on Milford, giving the ball back to Attleboro. Milford staying in that 2-3 zone.
Now the floater for Victor, no good, and Waleem Charles there to clean up. No points on the floor in the third quarter for Charles. He had a couple of free throws, but now gets the bucket. A chance to finish off the 3-point play to add to the visitors' lead.
Yeah, he's been very more present as Attleboro is starting to pull away on their run.
Still a 1-possession lead Kelly and Fraioli. Now White leaving it outside for tomorrow. Zach's shot is short.
Joey Everett at the scorer's table.
Now the fans trying to bring the energy level back up. Tough move by Sissio. Now it's Fraioli who will toss up the long-range shot. Ball deflects out.
Tomorrow's going to step out of the game.
Everett comes back in. Last time he came out onto the floor was just a brief appearance. We'll see if he's able to hang in there. Every shot has just been so highly contested for Milford in this second half. Nothing has looked comfortable. As Victor comes flying in after the foul, trying to slam it.
And in a play that Caden Kelly tried to take a charge, set the body right, kept the feet in place, and they still call a blocking foul. Definitely one of the things that you've noticed tonight from the crowd, how the coaches and players have been reacting. Officiating has not been on either team's side.
The fans helping out a bit as Callahan misses both free throws.
Definitely one of the things that the Milford fan base brings is continuous free throw distractions.
We're trying to battle back now, down by 5. Both teams now with 18 fouls. Brendan White, chance to inch Milford closer from the line. This is White's second trip to the line in this fourth quarter.
Both teams in the 1-and-1.
Trying to cut it back down to a one-possession game. Still 6 minutes and 7 seconds to go. White does his job from the line that time.
Jason Ware is going to step into the game for the first time in a while.
A lot of substitutions being made on the Attleboro side.
Trying to keep that energy up, make sure that none of their players run out.
It's been a physical game on both sides.
And that's definitely something we've been trying to, that's something that we've been expecting from both teams. For the past few years, competitive matchups, and not a surprise that both teams are being competitive tonight against one another.
Shot rims out, Joey Everett fights for the rebound. Here's Saylor pushing it ahead to White. White gets around Charles and takes it to the basket.
Showing no signs of fear as he drives it right into the post.
First points from the floor in the second half for Brendan White, and it's back down to a one-point game. And now the fans starting to make their voices heard once again. Coach Houle calls the timeout. Stops the clock with 5 minutes and 22 seconds to go. Milford now starting to go on that run that they've been in search for throughout this entire second half. It's now a 46-45 lead for the Bombardiers. Back with more in a moment here on Milford TV. Plenty of Attleboro fans in the house here tonight. They've liked what they've seen in this second half. The Milford fans hoping to see some more offense out of their team late. Milford trailing by a point. Attleboro gets the ball back in play as we resume now with under 5.5 minutes to go.
Attleboro with a good fan section tonight, but they also have the edge in cheerleaders. Something that a
little bit unusual for a road game to have the cheerleaders here, but an unusual situation with the Milford cheerleading squad down in Texas. And meanwhile, Nate Douglas giving his fans something to cheer about with that three-pointer. White can't answer on the other side for Milford. Whistle now stops the clock with 4:51 to go.
Yeah, it is a little strange when your halftime shows revolved around the Attleboro cheer squad. A little bit of something to adjust to, but
trying to build on a 4-point lead from the free throw line. Nate Douglas has really earned his money from the line tonight. Shooting 6 out of 8. And you can make it 6 out of 9.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
White into Kelly after he had a quick rest on the bench, and Caden Kelly grabs the points.
Sliding White right through Charles, able to get a...
Douglas driving that far wing.
It's been very consistent for Douglas, able to just run down the floor, finding options as soon as possible.
Now the ball loose under the basket as Everett is giving the all-out effort in the corner against Sissio. Now Sissio left open from three-point range and cannot convert. Milford getting lucky as he was wide open. Saylor waiting for reinforcements, now leaves it for Everett, who takes the deep three, hits the back of the rim, and we play on at the 50-47 score.
Under the halfway point for the fourth quarter.
Sissio with White close by. Now outside for Velasquez. Back to Sissio now. Cutting towards the basket, Dom Victor. He can't get it, and Waleem Charles unable to put it back this time. Now Milford pushes it ahead to Andrew Fraioli. Kelly calls for it and gets the bucket. 4 points in the quarter now for Kelly, starting to come alive, and again, the point difference is just 1 with 3:13 to go. This game coming down to the wire. Kelly and Charles collided there in the backcourt.
And for Milford, the first half revolved around a lot of outside shooting and jump shots. Second half has definitely been complete opposite, a lot of inside work.
Charles attacks down low. Looked like good defense for Milford. It was a late whistle. Milford fans hate it, and now Charles goes back to the free throw line. He's hit now 50% of his free throws after that miss.
Milford fans getting what they wanted after an 0 for 1. Open for both not to fall for them. And they'll get that.
Crucial misses for Attleboro. Milford now back up the floor with a chance to retake the lead with 2:48 to go, but quick hands at center court for Kevin Velasquez. He's able to pull off the steal. And then the foul.
Poor pass from Saylor right there. Velasquez able to get right through it.
It's another opportunity missed by Milford after Charles couldn't convert on the free throws. A chance to come back down the floor. Finally reestablish a lead in this game. Instead, the unnecessary turnover. And Milford getting bailed out with a series of free throw misses now by the Bombardiers.
Getting bailed out for right now, but with time winding down, that door for opportunities and taking that lead back is slowly shutting.
So with the one make, it's now a 2-point lead. As Everett goes down, now slow to get back to his feet as play continues. Now finally Everett gets up. Fraioli gets the shot and the foul. And Fraioli able to tie the game at 51.
Everett seemed to be a little bit shaken up after taking that fall to the floor.
Took him a couple of moments to get to his feet. Now you can see very ginger on that right ankle. He will head right to the bench.
And that ankle has been proven to be his Achilles heel for today. He's been playing fantastic through it, but constant physical contact on it has definitely caused him a lot of pain. Hoping he can recover and is okay from the injury.
He'll head all the way to the locker room this time. Meanwhile, Fraioli couldn't finish off the three-point play, so we are knotted at 51 all. And it's going to be a 2-minute race to the finish line as Qualeen Charles swings the lead back to the Bombardiers.
Reaching the 2-minute warning, and this is going to be a close one, Tim.
Two JV teams also played a close one that went right down to the final moments. Here's Fraioli. Shot rims out, and the bounce ends up leading right into the hands of Dom Victor, who then gets fouled.
Whitey with a little bit of a reach right there. With the 2-point lead that Attleboro has right now, not the best of foul opportunities.
Minute 50 to go with Dom Victor again at the line. He's knocked down both of his free throw chances so far tonight, and now hits on his third. And you look at that point total now up to 54 for Attleboro after scoring just 20 points in the first half. Milford thinking they had a chance to do what no other team has done so far this season, and that's hold Attleboro to under 50 points, but that did not end up being the case.
Yeah, and Attleboro almost doubling their point total in the first half. Really came out changing the momentum and energy on the court.
So the make and the miss at the free throw line sets up a 54-51 score, as I believe it was Coach Houle on the Attleboro side who took the timeout, down to just 1:43 to play. So the one possession game will take a quick timeout. An exciting conclusion in the making here in the Milford gym here tonight. We'll see if Milford can come back off the mat and come through with a victory here. We'll find out next on Milford TV. Big swings of momentum in this game. You think back to the early part of the first quarter. Milford scored their first 12 points of the night on three-point shots. They knocked down 5 threes in the first half where they built up a big double-digit lead. They've not knocked down a three-pointer since. The offense has been much harder to come by overall. Attleboro has been the more dominant team in the second half, and now Attleboro taking their time here, dribbling the clock down under 90 seconds. And they use that clock to their advantage. They swing it into the corner. Douglas with a good look at the shot clock buzzer, and Douglas knocks it down. A bit of a dagger in the heart of the comeback bid for Milford, as that pushes it up to a 6-point Attleboro lead. Marco thought about putting up the shot. Instead, Saylor takes it to the rack. He can't finish, and the rebound is pulled down by Dom Victor with now under a minute to go. And Milford starting to run out of time. Feed it back into Victor, and called for the offensive foul.
Another chance for Milford to try to close that down to a one-possession lead. Cam Falcon's going to step into the game. Very lethal shooter. Definitely wouldn't be surprised if they use him as an option.
We just talked about it a moment ago. Milford has had absolutely no outside shooting game in the second half, hoping that Falcon perhaps can provide them with a key shot here.
It might be a little bit too late.
And Dom Victor, after the frustration, is able to take it down the other end and accentuates it with the slam dunk. Now Brendan White from three-point range cannot get the shot. The ball tipped out of play by Milford. The lead up to 8 for Attleboro with 17.4 to go in this game now, right within the grasp of the Bombardiers.
And I think that dunk right there might have just closed out any chance that Milford has.
Final 10 seconds about to tick down. No fouls from Milford, as a disappointing end to what looked like an exciting night in the making as Milford will fall in this game to Attleboro by a final score of 59-51. And there have been several games over the course of this season, Nealon, that you look at, you think all the way back to Game 1 against King Philip. You think about the loss on the road to Foxborough back on January 12th, and now this one, games that were winnable for Milford right into the fourth quarter, but just a lack of execution down the stretch results in another very frustrating loss.
I think this was a hard defeat for Milford. Second half, all Bombardiers.
An 11-point lead at halftime for Milford, but it did not hold up on this night as Attleboro was able to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and they had a fantastic second half. And they earn a gritty road victory here tonight over Milford by a final score of 59-51. So Milford with the loss drops back to 500 overall on the season at 6-6, and Attleboro with the victory improves to 9-4 overall on the season. This boys team will next be in action coming up on January 30th on the road. They will take on a tough Mansfield team, so the competition does not get any easier for Milford as they will take on Mansfield and Stoughton on the road before returning home next on February 6th to take on the Canton Bulldogs. So that is a look at the road ahead. In the meantime, a big thank you to our Milford TV crew on hand, our director Rob O'Keefe, our camera operators Mike Sperling, Malcolm Zale, and Patrick Garapi. And for Nealon Reisman, I am Tim Coet. That final score, one final time, Milford falls to Attleboro by a final score of 59-51. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.